Good morning, my dear students. This is Dr. Sakshi Jain, Assistant Professor in English of SD Mahila Mahavidyalaya Hasi, welcomes you all to my YouTube channel. Today we will continue Aristotle the Poetics, Unit 1st of Paper 11th, Critical Theory. I have already told you Aristotle the Poetics is divided into 6 parts. We have already done first part, chapter 1st to 5th. In this video, we will do second part, chapter 6 to 19. In this chapter, Aristotle discusses tragedy in detail. What he said? Its objects are grand and serious. Its medium is grand and high, and the manner is dramatic. According to Aristotle, the tragedy has 6 parts: plot, character, thought, diction, melody, and spectacle. Out of these 6 parts, the most important part is plot. Aristotle says that plot is even more important than character. According to him, the aim of tragedy is not to portray the character but to show action, and action comes through plot. He thinks that character is only the secondary thing. In order to prove this point, Aristotle gives the example of painting. If all the colors are mixed without any order or design, there will be nothing, but the painting will be created if these colors are applied in a certain pattern. The same is true in the case of tragedy. The characters have no value unless involved in some action, that is, plot. Out of the 6 parts of the tragedy, 3 are concerned with the objects of imitation. These are plot, character, and thought. Plot, character, and thought are the objects of imitation. 2 parts, diction and the melody, are concerned with medium of imitation, and the 6th part, spectacle, is concerned with manner of imitation. Chapter 7th, Plot Construction. I have already told you, according to Aristotle, plot is the most important part of a tragedy. Tragedy is an imitation of an action which is complete and whole and of some magnitude. According to Aristotle, the tragedy should be a whole thing. It should have a proper beginning, middle, and the end. The beginning of the tragedy must be self-explanatory. Middle should follow logically from the beginning. End of the tragedy should be artistically satisfying. The tragedy should have a proper magnitude or size. It should be neither too big or too small. Aristotle gives the analogy of an animal. If an animal is so small that we can see it with difficulty, it would not give us any pleasure. On the other hand, if it is so long that you can see only its head and the tail is several feet away, even then it will not look nice. In the same way, tragedy should neither be too big or not too small. In short, tragedy should be appropriate to the memory. It means that the spectator or the reader should be able to remember what has gone before. The audience must be able to grasp the whole of the plot with the relative ease. If the play is too short, we lose a sense of development. If it is too long, we lose track of what is happening and our appreciation of the story is impaired. Regarding its length, Aristotle says that a length which allows the hero passing by a series of probable or necessary stages from misfortune to happiness or from happiness to misfortune. Chapter 8, Unity of the Plot. In this chapter, Aristotle again emphasizes the importance of a coherent plot. Aristotle says that infinite variety of things may happen to the hero. The dramatist cannot present all these events in the play, so the dramatist selects only the important events. According to Aristotle, the plot must have organic unity. It means that no part can be removed without changing and distorting the meaning of the whole. Chapter 9, The Nature of the Poetic Truth, Poetry and History. According to Aristotle, the true difference between the historian and the poet is that the historian records what has happened, while the poet writes about what may happen. Poet is free to invent or imagine the incidents. However, these incidents are not totally removed from reality because although these are imaginary, these are possible to exist and happen in real life. Aristotle believes that poetry is more philosophical than history because in order to unfold a plot in a manner that is convincing to the audience, the poet must grasp and represent the internal logic, the necessity of the outcome of those events. Aristotle condemns episodic plots because these have no organic unity. Incidents can be removed from them without injuring the story. Aristotle criticizes those poets who simply string episodes together. He says that tragic plots must not only be coherent but also inspire fear or pity in the audience. This question from the net point of view is very much important. Aristotle condemns which one plot? Episodic plot. एरिस्टोटल ने एपिसोडिक प्लॉट जो है उसकी निंदा की है. Chapter 10, Kinds of Plot, Simple and Complex. In this brief chapter, Aristotle offers a distinction between simple plot and complex plot. In a simple plot, the action moves continuously and uniformly in one direction. Simple plot presents a change of fortune which does not come about through a reversal of the situation. While in the complex plot, there is an abrupt change of direction. The change of fortune emerges of necessity from the events preceding it. It is brought about through a reversal of the situation or recognition or both. Chapter number 11, Peripeteia, Anagnosis and Suffering. This chapter is very much important from the net point of view if you want to give the test of PGT. In each and every competitive exam from the literature point of view, these terms are very much important. Let's try to understand them. In this chapter, Aristotle discusses the three components of a complex plot. These are Peripeteia, Anagnosis and Suffering. Peripeteia. Peripeteia means reversal of the fortune. It is one of the most important elements of a complex plot. It is an event that occurs contrary to our expectation and that is therefore surprising, but it appears as a necessary outcome. Anagnorisis. Anagnorisis is the Greek term for recognition. It describes the often sudden discovery that propels a tragedy to its conclusion through some revelation. For example, Oedipus discovers that he has, despite his efforts to avoid it, fulfilled the prophecy that he will kill his father and marry his mother. Suffering. At the end of this chapter, Aristotle says that the scene of suffering, which arouses strong emotions from the audience, is the third component of the tragic plot. Example of this scene of suffering include slaying of Agamemnon or the blinding of Oedipus. Chapter 12. In this chapter, I will tell you formal parts of the tragedy. First, prologue. It begins the play. It extends from the opening of the play to the first full performance by the chorus. Episode. Those scenes of the tragedy which take place between choric performances. Exode. It extends from the final choric performance to the end of the play. Chorus. Chorus narrates the events which took place before the start of the play. It also describes the events which took place between the acts of the stage. Comos. It is a performance within the tragedy in which both actors and the chorus take part. I think you all are able to understand all these formal parts of the tragedy: prologue, episode, exode, chorus, and comos. Chapter 13. The Ideal Tragic Hero. Aristotle likes complex plots because they arouse pity and fear, which is the function of tragedy. Tragic plot centers on a change of fortune of the hero. Aristotle is careful to identify what kind of reversal of fortune is truly tragic. According to him, three kinds of the plots should be avoided. A very good man passing from happiness to misery, it will seem odious. A bad man passing from misery to happiness. An extremely bad man passing from happiness to misery. Hamartia. Hamartia is some tragic flaw in the character of the hero. Now Aristotle tells us the features of a tragic hero. He says that hero should be an intermediate kind of the hero, neither too much good and nor too bad. He should not be full of depravity, or you can say vice. He should be like us, but should have hamartia that leads to his downfall. He should be a person who enjoys prosperity, name, and fame. He should be highly placed in the society so that his fall arouses sense of pity and fear. According to Aristotle, the ideal plot must deal with a single issue, that is the misfortune of the hero. He believes that double plots should be avoided. In this slide, I have merged chapter 14 and 15 because in the chapter 14th, Aristotle says about the spectacle and the plot, which I have already told you full-fledged. In the chapter 15th, he has told essential elements in a character. This is also very important. Aristotle ने डिस्कस किया है 4 essential elements of a character in a tragedy. Goodness. For Aristotle, the most important aspect of a character is goodness. The character should be good and his words should have sincerity. Appropriateness. Character must be true to type or status. The behavior of the characters must be suitable for their social rank. Verisimilitude. True to life. Characters must be believable. They should have virtue, joys, weakness of average humanity. Consistency. This is also very much important element in a character. The kind of behaviors assigned to a character must not change suddenly. If a character is meant to be represented as indecisive, erratic, or otherwise inconsistent, this inconsistency must be consistently portrayed. Chapter 16th, Anagnosis and its kinds. This chapter is also very much important from the net point of view. Sometimes they ask in the net exam what kind of the anagnosis it is. What do you mean by anagnosis? Anagnosis means discovery or recognition. It is also a very important part of the tragedy. At an important moment in the play, the hero discovers something which changes the course of the story. According to Aristotle, there are 6 kinds of discovery or recognition. Number 1. By signs or marks. These signs may be by birth, like scar, or acquired afterwards, like necklace, any locket, etc. This is the least artistic method for bringing about a recognition. An example of this kind of anagnosis is Euryclea's recognition of Odysseus by scar on his thigh. Number 2. Contrived revelations. Such a discovery is introduced by the poet at will. जब poet की मर्जी होगी तब वो इस तरह की discovery को tragedy में introduce करेंगे Characters reveal their identities simply because a recognition must take place to advance the plot. According to Aristotle, this device is also not too much artistic. Both the first and second points, by sign or marks, contrived revelations. Both the points, according to the Aristotle, is not too much artistic, depending on memory. Events in the plot may awaken memories in one of the characters. The character hears or sees something and is reminded of the past. For example, the songs of Harper in the court arouse Odysseus' memories and bring about the revelation of his identity. Number 4. Process or reasoning. Sometimes characters figure out another's identity through logical analysis. Aristotle approves of this kind of the Anagnosis. The character may link one event with the another and the truth is recognized. Number 5. Discovery arising from bad reasoning. This is called discovery by bluff. It is used by the villains. Natural outcomes of the plot. The best kind of the recognition scene is completely integrated into the action of the plot. It arises out of the action itself, and such discovery is natural. For example, messengers arriving to tell Oedipus to stop worrying about the prophecy unwittingly brings about the revelation of Oedipus' real identity. This is the natural outcome of the plot, and this one is the best kind of the recognition according to Aristotle. In this slide, I have merged chapter 17, 18 and the 19 because all these chapters include practical rules for the tragic poet. The poet who wants to write a tragedy, what the rules he should follow. The poet should attempt to visualize the scenes before composing the text. As far as possible, the poet should enact the story with the very gestures or the characters in the plot. A poet doing so would appear to be mad, but this madness is the special gift of the poet. The poet should begin by a universal form. Every tragedy is a part of complications. The poet should make the chorus an important part of the tragedy. 4 kinds of tragedy. Tragedy of suffering, painful effects like wounding, death, etc. Tragedy of character, character revealed through actions and speeches. Tragedy of spectacle, sensations produced by the setting, scenes and the costumes. Complex with anagnosis, reversal and climax. Dramatist should remember that a tragedy is not an epic. He should not load it with multiplicity of the characters and actions. I hope you all are able to understand part 2 from the chapter 6 to 19 very well. I have told you only the important points of tragedy according to Aristotle. Keep learning, keep growing till the time we meet next in the next video. Thank you.